Well, Oklahoma's budget deficit continues to be problematic for departments across the state. And today we are joined by the Dale Rogers Training Center, which is at risk of losing funding if lawmakers can't figure out a fix. It's a group that works hard to teach and employ adults with disabilities. And here with us to discuss what is really at stake and what this place does for these adults, we have Marketing Director Michael Jones with us this morning.
Good morning, Marky.
Good morning. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
First tell us about this training center, the Dale Rogers Training Center. For those who have never been before, I've never been. Tell us what your mission is and what happens there.
Our whole focus is providing training and employment opportunities for people with disabilities across Oklahoma and helping people recognize that they're productive, tax-paying citizens just like all of us.
And so how does that work? Do they come to you? Do you reach out to them? Do a lot of people even know that this is an option that they have here in the city?
We try to make it more aware each and every year. We're on our 64th year. Typically what happens is they work with the Department of Rehabilitative Services or the Department of Human Services. And once they receive what's called a ticket to work, then they can work with our employment specialists. We can interview them, find out what kinds of jobs they like, what skill sets they have, and then we will place them in a community job, or a lot of times they might start working on our campus, which is on Northwest 23rd Street.
And speaking of jobs and skill sets, I know you brought, this is one of the items that you make. It's a spice set, is that right?
Yes.
What is this?
Going on 7 years now, we started our own spice, Prairie Spices. And what's great is a very transferable skill where they actually put the labels on. This actually comes flat, so they have to assemble it, put in the cardboard, then they put the different spice sets in, then they'll put a little note that says, "Hi, I'm Mike, I'm glad I spiced up your life today."
Oh, that's
and
sweet.
They keep track of that because it's based on how many units they produce each week. So everyone gets a paycheck, whether they put 3 sets together or 300.
Okay, very neat. I'm glad that you brought that, just to show us this morning. And I do want to talk about funding. I know this is a big issue on the table for you. What is at stake if lawmakers don't figure out a fix to our budget deficit?
Jobs and possibly even housing. We don't know. We're going to be affected just like every Oklahoman. So it's kind of a moving target. But Dale Rogers Training Center back in the 80s recognized that the state pie and the federal pie is just not going to be enough. So we became very entrepreneurial. That's why we have our own line of spices, our own line of coffee, Prairie Coffee. We have our own awards and trophies company where they actually manufacture acrylics and put trophies together. We have our own picture frame manufacturing plant. And then also we work together with different companies trying to find jobs for the folks that may not be working on campus. So it will impact us. To what extent, we really don't know yet.
You're a jack of all trades, it sounds like there.
We like to say yes. It's not that we'll do everything, but typically if we find a niche, for instance, we just opened an office in Norman because we're one of the few agencies that actually provides transportation. And so we were taking one of our buses down to Norman sometimes several times a day because there were companies interested. So now we opened an office in Norman so that we can really work and reach out to the companies that want to employ people with disabilities in that part of town.
What do you need to stay in business? Money-wise, when you look at finances and what could, be lost here with budget cuts.
We love cash gifts, but really what we're looking for is customers, because you're going to buy a picture frame, but if you buy it from Wyman Frame, a division of Dale Rogers Training Center, you're providing a job. You're going to buy corporate gifts for the holidays. This would make a great corporate gift, and again, you're providing jobs for people with disabilities. And probably most importantly is just keep the conversation going. We have a very robust website that of course is fully accessible to people with disabilities, and that provides resources for families to know what alternatives are there. We want to give people choices. How
difficult is it for these adults with disabilities to find employment elsewhere? This place sounds like a great blessing, but talk about what these adults, what they experience when they're out in the workplace. Is it difficult for them to find jobs elsewhere? You can imagine, especially if they don't receive the training during their high school days. That's why we have a transition school to work program where juniors and seniors from, it's 6 different school districts, I think it's 17 different schools, that they can spend part of their day coming on campus, working with our employment specialists,
being interviews, just going through those exercises of what do I want to be when I grow up. But you're right, it's very difficult when they may not have the social skills or may not have the abilities that a typical high school graduate would have. And then obviously the support of the family and the care group is there. We try to serve not only the person with disability, but their entire family and their entire center of influence.
Michael Jones, thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you,
on the
Marky.
show. And please let us know what's happening, at the state level and how this is going to impact you, because I know a lot of people are concerned about your training center.
Our Facebook is keeping people aware every hour.
Okay. All right. We will make sure to check in with that. Then thank you so much for your time, sir. And we'll send it back over to meteorologist Shelby Hayes.